Ever feel like you're constantly like going through deadlines, to-dos, just that feeling of too much to do, not enough time?
Mm.
Yeah, me too. That's why this CortiSync stuff is so interesting to me. They're saying they can actually lower those stress hormones, not just like cover up the symptoms.
Right.
So let's see if they're really onto something.
Yeah, let's dive right in. I'm looking at their marketing stuff, some studies, even some personal stories mixed in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Okay, so we know CortiSync is claiming to be the best at reducing cortisol, but they're really pushing this whole adaptogen angle. What's the deal with adaptogens? Are they just like the new health fad, or is there actually something to it?
Well, they've been used in traditional medicine for centuries.
Yep.
Now modern science is finally catching up.
Yeah.
Basically, adaptogens help your body handle stress better. It's like building up your resilience, like at a cellular level.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and CortiSync combines 7 different types. They say this blend is what makes them stand out.
Okay, so let's break down this ingredient supergroup. What stood out to you?
Well, there's sensual ashwagandha, which is really just a fancy way of saying ashwagandha extract.
Okay.
But they actually mentioned a study where this specific extract caused a 24% drop in cortisol levels over 2 months.
Wow, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that they use something called standardized extracts.
What does that mean?
It means they test every batch to make sure it has the same amount of the active compounds. So no inconsistency in how potent it is, supposedly.
Interesting. So it's not just throwing some random herb in there.
Yeah.
They're aiming for consistent quality, which is something I always look for in a supplement. But let's not get too excited yet. What else is in this blend?
Let's see. We've got rhodiola rosea, which is known for helping people think clearly under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're really feeling stressed.
Yeah.
It helps you stay focused. They're referencing some research on how it helps with fatigue and burnout, especially in high-stress jobs.
Yeah. That sounds like something we could all use a little bit of, especially as we're heading into the busy season.
Right. And then we've got holy basil, or tulsi.
Okay.
It's been used for centuries, especially in India, for its calming effects.
Oh. Okay, so we've got these 3 working together. Ashwagandha to manage those cortisol spikes, rhodiola to keep our brains working properly, and holy basil for that overall sense of calm. But I'm guessing the big question is, do these ingredients actually work well together like they're claiming?
You're exactly right. That's what we need to figure out. This whole synergy thing is a big part of their marketing.
Right.
And they're saying these ingredients work better together than they do on their own.
Right.
But we have to look past the marketing and see what the science actually says.
All right, let's dig into that. What kind of evidence are they using to back up these claims? So they keep mentioning this synergy. Are they just using it as like a marketing buzzword, or is there actual science behind combining all these ingredients?
Yeah, that's where things get a little tricky. They highlight studies on each ingredient by itself, but I'm not seeing much about this specific blend and how they all actually interact. For example, they mentioned research showing rhodiola can improve how well you think when you're stressed.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and all, but it doesn't tell us how it works together with the other 6 ingredients.
So it's like they know each musician is good, but we haven't actually heard the band play together yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not unusual with supplements. Those big trials on specific formulas take a lot of time and money.
Right.
But it does mean we should be a little skeptical of these synergy claims.
Okay, so we don't know for sure if the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. But then there are those glowing testimonials. We've all seen them. People saying a supplement changed their life. How much should we trust those?
It's really easy to get caught up in those "it worked for me" stories. And they can be persuasive, but they have their limits.
Right.
Like we can't actually know if their better sleep or less stress is just from CortiSync or from other things too.
Like maybe they started meditating more or going for walks, and that helped along with the supplement.
Exactly. Or it could even be the placebo effect, where just thinking something works makes you actually feel changes.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing how powerful our minds are.
That is wild. But I guess that's why it's so important to have those scientific studies, those controlled ones, to really know if something really works.
Absolutely. And even with the limited research on this formula, CortiSync says their product works best as part of a bigger approach to well-being.
Yeah, which I do like.
Yeah.
It's like they're acknowledging that taking a pill isn't some magic solution. You have to work on your lifestyle too, right?
Exactly. And they especially talk about how important sleep is for managing cortisol. They say that by lowering cortisol overall, CortiSync might lead to better sleep.
Okay.
But it's not that the supplement itself directly makes you sleep better.
So it's more about fixing the hormonal imbalance that might be messing with your sleep in the first place.
Right, and that's where those healthy habits come in. They talk about having a consistent sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, all that stuff you always hear about, but it's hard to actually do when you're stressed.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
I know I'm guilty of scrolling on my phone in bed when I know I should be winding down.
We've all been there. But the research is clear. Having those good sleep habits makes a huge difference. And of course, they also mentioned regular exercise.
Right back to exercise is good for you, but I'm guessing they're not saying we have to be marathon runners to benefit.
No, not at all. It's about finding something you like and actually doing it regularly. Even just a quick walk can make a difference with stress hormones.
So moving our bodies is good. What about what we're putting in our bodies? Do they say anything about diet in these materials?
We do. CortiSync says to eat a balanced diet, lots of whole foods, and limiting the sugary stuff we crave when we're stressed.
It's so true how those cravings hit at the worst times. But it makes sense those sugar crashes don't exactly make you feel calm and relaxed.
Right, and I found it really interesting that they mentioned the gut microbiome and how it connects to stress.
The wallet.
The gut microbiome.
Oh.
Basically all the bacteria in our gut.
Oh, okay, got it.
They're saying that a healthy gut can actually help regulate how your body responds to stress.
Okay, now that's not something you hear every day. So you're saying what we eat impacts not just our physical health, but also how our bodies deal with stress.
Exactly. They even suggest eating probiotic-rich foods to help your gut.
Okay, I'm adding gut health to my stress-busting to-do list. It's kind of amazing how connected everything is. So we've got sleep, exercise, diet, and this whole gut health thing. It seems like CortiSync is promoting a pretty well-rounded approach to managing stress, even if the research on their actual formula is kind of lacking. So after looking at all this stuff, where do we land on CortiSync? Is it really the miracle stress buster they're claiming, or are we better off just sticking to yoga and green smoothies?
Well, I wouldn't call it a miracle cure. I wouldn't call anything that. But there are some interesting things about it.
Right, like those studies on the individual ingredients, and they're using standardized extracts. And they're not just saying, take this pill and forget about being stressed. They're really pushing a more holistic approach, which I like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's super important. Even if more research shows that their synergy claims are true, CortiSync probably works best with those lifestyle changes we talked about.
So it's not like a free pass to just ignore healthy habits. It's more like another tool we can use to manage stress along with sleep, exercise, and a good diet.
Exactly. But for someone who's interested in those initial studies and the combination of ingredients, it might be worth looking into.
What would you recommend someone do if they want to try CortiSync?
The most important thing is to talk to their doctor first, especially if they have any other health issues or are taking medication.
Always good advice.
And also, manage your expectations. Supplements aren't a quick fix.
Right.
It might take a while to see any changes, and those changes might be small.
And it's different for everyone, right? Something that works for one person might not work for someone else.
Totally. You got to listen to your body, pay attention to how you feel, and be patient.
Yeah, it's a journey, not a race.
Well, this deep dive definitely gave me a lot to think about. What started as me just being curious about a popular supplement turned into this whole exploration of stress adaptogens and how powerful a holistic approach can be.
That's what's so cool about these deep dives. We find these hidden connections and learn how to make better choices for ourselves.
What?
I couldn't have said it better myself. And for everyone listening, remember, knowledge is power. Whether you decide to try CortiSync or find other ways to manage stress, keep being curious, keep learning, and keep asking questions. That's all we have for this deep dive. Until next time, stay well.